And this is how I found you. It popped up on X. It was Arizona has one of the worst bills right now. I thought, okay, all right, why? Why is this? So let's start with a couple of the bills. And I wanted to talk to you about House Bill 2311. And House Bill 2311, I just went back and watched the videos on all of this, outlines the procedures that an artificial intelligence operator must follow when minor children are interacting with a conversational AI service.
The approach does not shut teens and children out of the gen- generative AI altogether, but it rather enables them to learn about and benefit from these technologies responsibly and with guardrails in place. And some of the highlights members are parental controls. Tools must be offered for parents of users under 13 to manage privacy and settings, with appropriate tools available for parents of minors aged 13 and above as well. General safeties and disclosures, consumer disclosure. If a reasonable person would be misled into believing that they are speaking to a human, the operator must disclose that the service is artificial intelligence.
Sounds good. What's the problem with it?
So, how is an AI service going to interact? So, first of all, how's the AI service going to know who is a minor and who is not? They're going to have to age gate every single user in order to know who is a minor. So, a lot of people hear this and they're like, well, I'm glad I don't have kids. It doesn't apply to me. It does. It applies to every person in the state of Arizona using AI. And the bills never say specifically how these AI companies are going to have to determine who is a minor. So there's broad discretion that is left up to these tech companies to figure out how they're going to do it. And in order to be in compliance with the law, because the penalties are so stiff, they're going to over collect data, right, to ensure that they're not, interacting with a minor in a way that the law says that they can't. So they're gonna collect age verification data that could be anything from government issued ID with children. So this is a big concern of mine. With children, how are they going to know that the child is a minor? Because kids under 16 probably don't have any government issued ID. Maybe they have a passport, they have a birth certificate. So are parents going to be required to submit birth certificates? Are they doing facial recognition, which I know they do this on a lot of the games that the kids play? They're
Mhm.
doing facial recognition on the kids. And a lot of parents don't seem to have a problem with that. I think that is alarming that these like Roblox and these games that kids are playing are doing facial recognition on these children. And building out this, childhood to adult government surveillance on our kids. Like we're just letting it happen. So you have that. And then the AI is going to have to be doing continuous monitoring of the user's behavior, right, to ensure that they're not violating the terms of the law and providing content that the law prohibits. So, whether it's like mental health advice, a lot of people have, not a lot, but some people have come forward and said my child committed suicide because of an AI chatbot, which is devastating. And it seems to me that they could be the people that write the AI stuff could make sure that their AI isn't having those kinds of conversations with anybody, because that just seems highly inappropriate for AI to be doing with anybody, right? So they're going to have to monitor. They have like a pop-up, I think, with the Arizona. It's like once every hour or once every 3 hours. I forget how often it is, but to remind the user that it is AI and it's not human. So these are all very invasive. If the age verification doesn't bother you, I hope that the continuous monitoring of your behavior is bothering you. And there's really no guardrails for what do they do with that behavior monitoring data? Where does it go? What do they use it for? Is it being used for, ad targeting? I think there's probably something in it that says prohibits some of that stuff. But that these developers are going to be using that data for all kinds of things for future development of AI. So it seems to me like we are giving these AI companies a lot more permission through these laws to collect this data and information to further advance their technology.
What I noticed was Google came and testified in favor of this bill.
Obviously Google is at the forefront, we'll say, of generative AI. Our product, Gemini, already incorporates a lot of the design features that are contemplated in House Bill 2311, but we think they're important. Things like persona safeguards, so that the generative AI service is not representing itself as a human being, engaging in a sexual relationship with an underage user, suicide self-harm protocols, preventing it representing itself as a mental health professional. We think these are common sense, and we've already incorporated them into the design of our product for ones that are aimed at under 18 users. But we think it's important that we establish a industry-wide kind of floor for safety protocols and design features for under 18 users here.
I thought that there would be several speakers lined up to come and talk about this and more of a robust conversation, but it was just Google that was there.
That was the only person that testified on it. So Jeannie from our team went down when it was first scheduled. They struck it from the agenda the morning that she was there. So she flew from Seattle just to talk about that bill.
Because I told her I would. This is kind of long. I'm not going to read it all because it's more than 2 minutes, but this bill was held last week because it needed some work, and a woman named Jeannie McDewitt from Seattle actually came down here to testify. America. I'm not going to read it all. I'm going to enter it into our record, but basically she feels like it's a lot of government overreach and all of that kind of stuff constitute happy. I'm not reading her whole thing, but I am the star of the show, but I wanted to let her know that she's against it, and I thank her for me down here to testify on something from another state, because that's it takes a lot of gumption and probably her own flight money, so I do appreciate that. So I wanted to mention that.
These policies give these tech companies a lot of valuable data. It kind of is like a permission slip, right, to collect all of this data. And there's really no guardrails on them for privacy protection, storage, sharing, things like that. They're very loose on that. So I think that it makes sense to me that Google would show up and testify in support of it. Every time I have testified on one of these tech bills, it is like me in the room with a bunch of like tech lobbyists.